What's up everybody, welcome to Best Massage Tech, where today I'm taking a look at the Whoop Strap 3.0. A Whoop Strap is a wearable fitness tracker that measures sleep, activity or strain, and recovery, and provides feedback on how to improve on each of these categories. It uses 5 sensors to measure heart rate variability, ambient temperature, skin conductivity, and movement. And in its simplest form, its purpose is to tell you whether you should take it easy or go hard in your next workout. But with all the data that it tracks, there's just so much more that you can learn. And that's why I'm excited today to share my experience after wearing this for the past 3 months. So when you order your Whoop Strap, it's gonna come in a box like this, and it's gonna include everything you need to get started, including a 4-step instruction manual. So when you order the standard one, it does come in black. So you get the strap itself. It comes with a small little pouch with a buckle on it. You also get a micro USB charger, and then you get a battery pack. And the unique thing about the Whoop is that you do not actually have to take it off in order to charge it. So all you have to do is charge the battery pack, and the battery pack takes about an hour to an hour and a half to charge. Once it's fully charged, you just take it and slide it over the top of your Whoop Strap, and it charges it while you're wearing it. And once your Whoop Strap is fully charged, it's gonna stay charged for about 5 days. So you don't need to worry about constantly charging it. But it is something that I really like, that it does have this battery pack. You can buy additional battery packs, but as long as you're being mindful of that battery level, you shouldn't really need it. And it's really great. The strap itself is waterproof, so you can wear it swimming, you can wear it in the shower. There's no need to have to take it off ever. But the battery pack is not water resistant, so just be mindful you can't wear this in the shower, but you can wear the strap in the shower. Once you have your strap on and you've paired it with the Whoop app on your smartphone, you can go ahead and start tracking some of that data. However, just be aware that it will take about 4 days to a week in order to calibrate and develop a baseline based on your body's information. Now, one of the key data points of the Whoop Strap is heart rate variability. And the way that the Whoop Strap collects this information is through small sensors on the bottom of the strap. So you'll see there's 2 green lights. And what these green lights are doing are actually measuring the volume of blood and using the information from the volume of blood to collect different pieces of information. And so those green lights are actually shining through my blood. And when your heart beats, there's actually a momentary increase in blood volume. So if you think of it as a wave, it's actually going to monitor how much light is shining through, and it uses that information to track heart rate variability. And then there's a few other sensors on there that are also going to monitor your movement, your skin conductivity, and your ambient temperature. And through all this information, it uses a few different algorithms to give you a recovery score, a strain score, and just track overall information as it pertains to your specific body. Because the Whoop Strap doesn't come with any sort of screen on it, you're gonna spend all of your time in the Whoop app. That is where all the information is collected and displayed. Now, I will show everything that the app is capable of, but before I do that, I do just want to talk about what it costs to get started with a Whoop Strap. Whoop operates on a subscription-based model, and the minimum commitment to get started is a 6-month commitment at $30 a month. So just to get started, you're looking at $180. Now, that $180 does include the strap itself. So, once you have the strap, you're really just paying moving forward for the data. And it does seem like a big number, but if you actually calculate the math out, and the way that I've been able to justify it is that it's essentially $1 a day. And for that $1 a day, you're getting a lot of information that helps you learn more about how you're sleeping, how you're working out, how you're recovering. And for me, that's just really useful information that I do think is justified for that $1 a day cost. Now, because I do realize that that is still an expensive number for a lot of people, I do have a discount code down below. It's gonna get you $30 off, so you're gonna get 1 month for free. It's gonna include the free strap. So if you are interested in getting started, you can go ahead and click that link down below. And I will go ahead now and switch over to a screen share, and I'm gonna show what that app is all capable of, and we'll dive into some of that data and what that data means. So when you open the app, it's gonna take you to this main page, which essentially summarizes all the information in the app at the top with a cool looking pie chart. You'll see my daily strain, the estimated calories burned, my HRV, and my recovery. Now with the recovery, that's primarily what most people are going to be paying attention to when they are using a Whoop. it's either green, yellow, or red based on your recovery. Green means that you're in a spot that you can attack the day. Yellow means that you might not be able to go to peak performance. And then red is typically going to be a day that you might want to rest or take it easy that day. Now, I haven't really done anything the last day or the last few days, so you'll see the only activity that I have tracked there right now is my sleep. If there happened to be something throughout the day that I forgot to track, I can hit this little stick figure looking guy with the plus sign, and it's going to bring up all the activities, and I can put a start time and end time. And just since I have this open, I'm going to go through and just show all the activities that it has to choose from. So you see at the top, it does keep your most recent activities there. But just to scroll through, if there's anything that you're typically going to be doing to be active, it's likely going to be in here, or something similar that you could select. And this is really just so the app knows, what sort of, heart rate, things like that to expect, how much strain would be typical for that type of activity. So I'm going to hit cancel because I have nothing to add. Now, what I would do is, if I was going to start an activity right now, is I would hit in the top left the 3 little lines, and then I would select strain coach. And with that strain coach, you can then select the activity that you want, and it will, so for example here, I'll just select cycling, and then select start activity. And as it starts, you'll see it's going to select an optimal strain for you based on your recovery. And through this, it's also going to do a live heart rate monitor for you. So you can integrate this with a few different things. I personally integrate it with a Peloton. So it actually appears on the Peloton screen with my heart rate, just so you know kind of what sort of zone and how strenuous you are going relative to what the app is estimating to be your maximum heart rate. So I will go ahead and end and save. And then it asks you to rate your perceived exertion. So I'm going to say that that was my maximum exertion and my performance was peak. And yes, I was able, no, I was not unable to complete the workout as I intended. So I will just save that. And those are just some journal questions that the Whoop uses to calculate some information that comes into play at the end of each week and at the end of each month and at the end of the year. So you'll see it's going to pen there. It usually takes about 2 or 3 minutes. So while that's pending, I'll just go ahead and show a few other things. So if you swipe down, you can just see your optimal strain targets and your recovery over the last week. It just puts it in a little graph just so you can see your day-to-day. And if you go back up, and then I'm going to swipe to the right here, which is going to take me to my strain. And you'll see there's a note there. It just says, based on your 73% recovery, 8.6 to 16.6 day strain will balance exertion and recovery today. So it gives you a little bit of tip of what your recommended strain for that day should be. You can hit this little arrow here, and it's going to show you some statistics versus the past 30 days. If I swipe up, you can see the average for the last week. And like I mentioned, I haven't been very active this week. You see Friday was probably my most active day there. But the strain score is based on the average heart rate, which you can see again for the week there, and then your average calories burned. And so it factors those two and develops that strain score. If I swipe over, you're then going to see my recovery. Again, there's usually just some little tips or notes that help you to optimize the recovery. So here it's recommending that my HRV typically increases by 8.6% when I report that I've slept in my own bed. So, just another little note there to help you improve. You hit the arrow and it's going to show you recovery statistics versus the last 30 days, which is going to be your HRV, your resting heart rate, and your sleep and respiratory rate. Now, if I go down here, you're going to see here's the recovery score and here's my recovery over the last week. So usually coming off the weekends, if you're drinking or not sleeping very much, you're going to see it's going to take a few days to recover there. So Thursday was the first day this week that I got into the green. Now, this recovery score is based on a few different categories, and it's everything that's to the right there. So it's HRV, resting heart rate, and respiratory rate. Now, what I know about this algorithm is that it very heavily favors HRV, and HRV is heart rate variability, which heart rate variability is basically a signal of your nervous system and how balanced it is. So a high HRV is basically how ready your body is to jump into activity. And it's basically how your nervous system is being responsive to a wide variety of stimuli. So it's the variability and the timing of the beats of your heart. So, this is probably the most accurate depiction of, how ready you are for a competition or for a heavy workout. And this variability comes from computing inputs from your nervous system. So you've got a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic, and that's what causes the variability. So it's your fight or flight. And variability is good because your body needs to be able to respond to activating and deactivating. And when it's balanced, there's a lot of variability, and your heart is ready to do whatever it's being told to do. So you want to have a higher score there, but this is going to vary by every single person, and there's a lot of different categories that can affect HRV. So, the way Whoop values this is they measure it as an average. So your HRV is varying a ton throughout the day, and it's affected by a lot of things. So your activity level, your stress, your fatigue, your illness, your hydration, your alcohol consumption. It's a super sensitive metric, and it's very powerful, but it's very tricky. It's very powerful, but it's very tricky because it's not super specific down to one thing. There's an infinite number of resources that factor in to your HRV. And so, it's just super variable, and it's why they don't display it throughout the day. They measure it as part of your sleep. And specifically, Whoop has a patent where they only measure it part of your like slow wave sleep. So when you're in a super, super deep sleep, that's when they're measuring it, because that's when there's the least amount of variability or noise that your body is having to respond to. It's essentially your body is sort of numb to stimulus. And so that's the easiest way and the most specific way that Whoop has found to measure HRV. And you can go and look at Whoop. I'll put a link below. They've got about a 45-minute podcast where they dive into it specifically. But, some things just quickly on how to improve your HRV. Tobacco and alcohol are huge factors in that, so limiting and consuming those intelligently. Your water intake, your sleep, your training, recovering intelligently, nutrition, managing your stress, meditating. Basically anything that you would normally think could impact your sleep is typically going to have an effect on your HRV and could likely help you improve that. So a little bit of a rant there, but that's one of the most highly integrated factors of that algorithm. The next is your resting heart rate. So that's, just your heart rate at rest, and then your respiratory rate. And that's basically how many breaths you're taking per minute. Now, another quick aside on this is you may have seen something in the news specific to Whoop being able to help indicate when people have coronavirus. And specifically to me, I became aware of it when a professional golfer, Nick Watney, was wearing Whoop and noticed that his respiratory heart rate spiked out of his typical range. And he then went and decided to get tested for coronavirus and tested positive. So it was with that and a lot of data that Whoop has been conducting in different studies that they've actually been able to determine as a potential indicator to when you may have coronavirus, when your respiratory heart rate starts to spike out of that typical range. So that is why a lot of people I know specifically are getting Whoop, is to be able to track that and potentially indicate that. So PGA Tour bought 1,000 of them. The NFL Players Union bought them. A lot of universities bought them for their athletic departments and athletes. So something super unique there that Whoop has tapped into. So that's recovery score. Then it also tracks your sleep performance. So I had 100% sleep last night. I slept longer than I needed to. You're going to have a little bit of a note there again for peak sleep. And then you can again compare it against the past 30 days. If you swipe down, so your sleep performance here is based on the number of hours you slept and the number of hours you were in bed. So you see here, this is my performance. The hours needed versus hours actually slept. And time in bed. And now while I'm talking about sleep, I'm actually just going to jump back to the main screen here. And if I click on sleep, you can actually look at my last night of sleep in all the different stages. So when I was awake, when I was in light sleep, when I was in REM, and when I was in slow wave sleep or deep sleep. And I can then also look at when any disturbances happened throughout the night, how efficient my sleep was. So sleep efficiency is how much sleep I got versus the time I spent in bed. My respiratory rate while I was sleeping, and then latency, which is just how long it took me to fall asleep. So there it took me 8 minutes to fall asleep last night, which was 1 minute less than normal. So also from the home screen here, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my phone screen horizontal, and you'll be able to look at my heart rate throughout the entire day. And you can click on any part of the day or any part of the night before, and it's gonna show you what your beats per minute were at that time. So something really cool that I've seen with this, specifically relating back to golf, Justin Thomas, who's a professional golfer, actually pulled up where he had a really intense putt that he had to make to determine whether he was going to win the tournament or not. And he was actually able to see his heart rate spike up to that moment to when he was watching that putt go in. So really, really cool, just data and analytics to be able to follow there. Now, something else that is really cool with this is that you can look at a sleep coach. So before you go to bed that night, you can select what you want to do for the next day. So do you want to get by? Do you want to perform? Do you want to have peak performance? And it will recommend what time you need to go to bed based on what time you want to wake up that next day. So it's a sleep coach just helping you plan out that next day. You have your weekly performance assessment. So in that weekly performance assessment, it's just going to provide graphs of everything to see how your week went compared to normal. So you see my recovery last week compared to men in my age group is 16% higher than average. And then what's really, really cool with this is you can look at your monthly performance assessment. So every morning when you wake up, there is a journal section. And I'll see if I can actually show that here first, because I think that's a little bit more relevant. So if I go back to my app and I go to sorry, I'm jumping around a lot here. If I go back to my sleep, let's see it's on the home screen here. So this is your journal. So every morning when you wake up, it's going to ask you all these different journal questions, which I've narrowed it down to only a few. So every morning when I wake up, it asks me, did I consume alcohol? Did I use a device in bed? Do I feel control of my life? What my diet was? Did I sleep in my own bed? A few different questions that it's going to ask you. And you just say yes or no. And it tracks that information. And based on that information, it creates this monthly performance assessment. And so you see all your data tracked over the last month. But this is really where you can start to learn a lot about how your different activities are impacting. So if I'm going to look down here at the 4th page, you'll see my meat-based diet specifically related to my recovery. It went up 13% when I indicated that I was following a meat-based diet. My HRV went up 4. My sleep duration increased by 36 minutes. Same thing with when I reported stress. When I had low stress, my recovery went up 7%. So this is really useful information in terms of how to track and hack your daily activity and how it's truly impacting your life. So there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to dive into all of it, but you do get this report at the end of every single month. It's just really, really cool to dive into that. I have a science background, so I do kind of get to nerd out on some of this data. I was a college athlete. I'm still an athlete. So always intrigued and interested in finding ways to become better. And, some of this stuff that I've found. So for me, even I found just consuming a hot tea before bed, my sleep latency decreases. I fall asleep quicker when I've done that within a half hour of bed. So, just super cool information that you can get from your app. You can also do what they call Whoop Live. So I'm going to select this camera up in the top right. If you wanted to put something on Instagram or you wanted to just film a video and see how your heart rate is changing throughout this, this is what Whoop Live is going to show. And you can do a few different things. You can put a timer on or off. You can turn that off. You can take your calories off. You can take the Whoop score off. You can swipe and put different filters. You can change how it looks. You can do an overview, so it'll just show your daily strain there. You can do just your strain, which this is what I see a lot on Instagram. People will post this after a workout. You can post your recovery, your sleep individually. You can, change the photo that's in the background if you go to your photo library. So a lot of different things there, and I didn't mean to do that, but just something kind of cool to make it social, to share what you're doing in your workouts. So that is everything that the app is capable of doing. I tried to cover everything there. If I missed anything, I apologize. If there's something that you saw that you want to know about, drop it down below. I personally have found the sleep to be the most useful information, but I know a lot of people, especially right now with coronavirus, have been paying close attention to the respiratory rate just to see if there's an indication that they may have it. A lot of people pay close attention to the recovery. I'm someone that was formerly a competitive athlete. I'm not competitive in anything anymore. If I was, I would be paying super close attention to that recovery score and how I'd want to approach my workouts every single day. But for me right now, if I get a red score, I'm just going to go ahead and not work out that day, or take it a little bit easier. So it's something that's definitely worth paying attention to, especially if you're trying to improve. You don't want to be overexerting yourself or overextending yourself on any day where you might be, a little bit overextended on your recovery. So just, be mindful of that. Again, the price, I think it is justified. For $1 a day, you get a lot of really, really useful information. Again, I'm kind of a data nerd, and I like tracking that and seeing, how those different data points play into my daily activity and what things I'm doing throughout the day, do impact that. But again, I do have that link down below. So if you're interested in getting started, you get $30 off. So it knocks it down to $150. It's just a nice little discount. Plus you get the free strap. The strap you get with it is this black one. Now, Whoop does have a lot of different straps that you can choose from. The black one is the one you get for free, but I think for $15 you can get a different color. And then they have some different bands. They have like a hydro band and a pro knit that'll go up to $25, $35, just depending on what color you want there. And I guess with that, I will just jump into a few things that I like, a few things that I would maybe criticize with it. So the things that I like is that it is very minimal. You don't necessarily notice it. It's comfortable. I like personally that it doesn't have a screen, that it doesn't do some of those other things that some of the other fitness wearables have. It doesn't track steps. I don't think that's really necessary. I like that you can integrate it with the Peloton. So for me, I ride Peloton. I like that I can integrate and show my heart rate monitor on the screen. There's a few other things that it does integrate with, and I apologize. I don't know exactly what those are. I like that you don't have to take it off to charge it. So you just, slip the battery pack over it to charge it. And again, I like that you can wear it while it's charging. And I like that it stays charged for 5 days and that you don't have to take it off when you're in the shower. Now with that though, there are a few things that I would maybe criticize with it. So while you don't have to take it off when it's in the shower, it does take quite a while to dry if you do get wet with it. So because of that, they do have the hydro band. So if you're a swimmer or somebody that's getting wet more often than most people, consider getting that hydro band. I've tried to get it. I really want the white one. It's been sold out for quite a while. So I'm going to continue looking for that, but that would be one criticism. I wish it dried a lot faster. And I kind of wish Whoop just gave you that hydro band as the standard band on it, knowing that this one dries and, can kind of start to smell a little funky after a while. So I do wash it in the shower, but I wish it just came with that hydro band. I wish that on the journal, I wish there was more journal options. So for me, I mentioned I seem to notice that when I sleep with, or I consume tea before bed, that my latency is a little bit lower. I wish that was a journal option that I could put, that I consumed a warm beverage before bed. I know a lot of people in different parts of the world drink warm milk before they go to bed. That's not a journal option. I personally sleep with a weighted blanket every night. that's not a journal option, just to see how my sleep changes from a night with a weighted blanket versus not a weighted blanket. So I wish there was some more journal options there. I wish there was a few more integrations. So you do have the Peloton integration. I wish that, maybe some of the new massage guns that have Bluetooth, when you're looking specifically at recovery, there's a lot of information I think you could link in with a massage gun usage and how it impacts your recovery. So if it could integrate together with one of those. A lot of the new fitness mirrors, like Tonal is one that's coming to mind, or Mirror, if you could integrate with those. And maybe it can, and I'm just not aware of it. But that's just one other thing I wish it did better. I wish there was a few different color options as the free one, but look, I get it. They're giving you the strap for free. So anyways, that's just a few of my thoughts. Again, I've used it for 3 months. I'm going to continue using it. I love tracking all that data, kind of hacking my daily activities and improving throughout my life. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you were hoping to learn more on, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. I know this is a relatively long video, so I do appreciate anybody that watched all the way to the end. And just one last plug, if you're interested in buying, go ahead and click that link down below. But that is the Whoop Strap 3.0, and that's a review.